Hello, I'm Ashley, the engineer at Andover Norton, and over the past few weeks, and most probably since the start of the spring, we've had quite a few owners say that when they get their bikes out of winter hibernation, it was running well when they put it away, but it's not running that well when they actually try and start it in the spring. Last week we have an incident where a tri-spark system was misfiring. When we actually looked at the reason why, we found out that it only had 10 volts at the actual feed to the tri-spark, which is not enough. Now, the bikes, when you put them away, generally most people will look after all the usual stuff. They look after the oils, the brake fluid, the cables, gearbox oil, check your tyres, your chain. Everyone remembers to do that bit, but the other part on the bike that does need maintenance, especially if you leave it in an unheated garage or shed, is the wiring loom. Now, I've noticed this on my bike. Over the years, I've had issues where I've been going along and my battery status monitor has flickered. Now, every time I hit a bump, I've seen it flicker. That would tell me that something somewhere in the electrical system is not correct. Generally, and this is a Mark III loom, what I normally find is the plugs under the tank tend to be starting to corrode. I've actually got into the routine of every couple of years, I'll take the tank off, pull the plugs apart, get a little toothbrush and some electrical contact cleaner and clean down in the plug. But this is just one side of the plug. You need to check to make sure you've got no corrosion or anything starting to part at the back of the plug as well. That goes the same for the bullet connectors. Make sure that you look down the back where the wires go in and in the bit where the actual male and female parts meet. That tends to be the area where you see very little. It tends to be on the original looms and the older looms at the back of the connectors. Whilst you're at your loom, there's some other things you can also check as well. Earth wires. These earth wires are here for a reason and they actually go somewhere. They shouldn't be left just dangling or unconnected like we see on numerous bikes. This earth wire should actually attach to the frame. On some bikes I've seen these earth wires attached to the actual engine, and of course you've then got to rely on the earthing route through the actual engine and the wire at the head steady, because you've got the rubber isoelastic mounts giving it a bit of insulation. So if you've got a red wire, unless it is the one dedicated for the head steady or the earthing wire for the starter motor on a Mark III, make sure they're all connected. The other thing is, if you do have to take these off something, do not leave them bare thinking it's just a bare earth wire, it's safe. If you're bouncing around and that it hits the back of another connector that is live, you're going to blow a fuse. Be very careful with your wires. If you take a live wire and an earth wire off a component, insulate them both back on themselves. Don't leave the earth wire thinking it's going to be safe because it's an earth wire. If it touches something, it'll cause you problems. One we often see as well is where this loom goes across the top of the head steady isoelastic position. Some people thread it between the two triangular plates. Now, you need to be very careful doing that, because that triangular plate feels the vibration from the engine and that will chafe through this loom. Ideally, you want to get it above the triangular plates over where the head steady actually goes onto the actual frame, and make sure it's routed up out the way there and not actually in between the plates, between the lower frame, the frame tube and the actual box section where it joins the triangular plates. The other thing as well over the years that you might have come across, my indicators don't work. It worked last week but don't work this week. One of the things to check is to whip the lens off and check the connector at the back of the actual bulb. You normally find that these actually wear out with the vibration. I've had a few of it on my time. Very rarely get a blown bulb, but more often than not get to the point where they don't work because the actual vibration has worn away the contact at the back of the bulb. So remember, always worth checking through your wiring. Every couple of years or so, inspect the back of the connectors, check all your connections. Your battery, when you get it out at the beginning of each season, unless you ride all year round, make sure you're getting the good 13.4 volts at least when you got the bike running and the actual system is supposed to be charging the battery. With a modern rectifier regulator, you may see up to 14.4 volts like you would with a tri-spark or a MOSFET system. That concludes the talk today, but we will get some close-ups of these parts. If you've got any other questions, feel free to contact myself or Simon at Andover Norton via the technical email line or give us a ring. Thank you very much.